He's an Arsenal special, and Chronicles of Aguna's very own Harry Symeou is with us. Harry, Kai Havertz, thoughts?
I'm really up for this. I like it. I like it. I have to say, I've had a lot of tweets over the last few days of people saying, nope, this is a bad idea. Can't believe Arsenal are going anywhere near this. And it was funny because last week when the news broke, I think it was on Friday afternoon where the reports really started to gather pace. That morning we recorded an episode of the podcast and drew up our transfer wish list. And one of the players on mine was genuinely Kai Havertz before I even knew that this was a thing. And the reason for that is because clearly Chelsea need to move players on. Clearly he's a talented player. It hasn't quite worked out there, but you feel like there would be an appetite on Chelsea's side to allow this to go through. And if the player's pushing it too, then you could probably get him at a really reasonable price. I think he's just 24 years old and he's still got lots to offer. I think in terms of what Arsenal have up front in Gabriel Jesus, there are a lot of similarities between him and Kai Havertz, which make it a really, really good fit. He's versatile, can play across the front three, is very intelligent in his movement, is comfortable dropping into deeper positions, which is something that Arsenal do with their centre-forward really often. He isn't a natural goal scorer. You can say that about Jesus too, but the way that they both link people up, I think, is key.
My problem is everything I'm hearing there is about the Kai Havertz that I knew coming to the Premier League, the one that I'd watched at Bayer Leverkusen, the one that I thought was going to be a hit at Chelsea. I do think that there is a key issue around how he was used in that Chelsea team and the fact that they tried to play him as an out-and-out nine when Lukaku didn't work out, when they didn't manage to sign somebody, when they've got so many of those very similar attacking players at Chelsea, and he was the one who ended up getting thrown through the middle. But there was a period of time last season where when it comes to that final moment in the box, when it comes to the stars are in your eyes, the moment is there, and he just didn't look like he had the composure as a finisher to play in that straight-up role. That doesn't mean I don't think he's a good footballer. I just don't like the idea of Arsenal playing him in that position. So how does he fit into the Arsenal formation with the team you've got right now?
Well, I mentioned their versatility, and I think that's key. I think if you look at the people that Mikel Arteta's targeted over the last 18 months or so, versatility's been right at the top of the wish list in terms of players that can play in multiple positions. And Kai Havertz could play left, he could play right, he could play through the middle. There's some suggestion that he might even play in a more advanced midfield role, with Arsenal sort of obviously moving on, it seems anyway, from Granit Xhaka and changing things up on that left side of the midfield. So there's a lot of options, and that's what I really like about Kai Havertz, is that he would tick a lot of those boxes. Some would say jack of all trades, master of none. You could maybe level that at somebody like Kai Havertz. But when we go back to what you just said about maybe not taking the big moments, not finishing chances, I think a lot of that is down to confidence. I don't think there's any question about Kai Havertz's level of talent. So I think in the right environment, under the right coach, I'd be quite confident that you'd see a better version of Kai Havertz than the one we've seen at Chelsea over the last 2-3 seasons.
It wasn't just a little bit of confidence, though. It was full on, couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo type stuff. It was properly poor. And I don't know, like when he steps up to take a penalty, and I just never feel that confidence in him as somebody watching, as somebody who did like the idea of him and how he fit in. And I think the thing that adds to that for me is he's gone to Chelsea for just a little north of 60 million, rising to, I think, 70 with add-ons was the original quote. Don't know how many of those add-ons he's achieved. For me, he's less of a player than he was when he came from Germany. Arsenal are going to pay what Chelsea paid for him, maybe slightly more. I know the market might change slightly, but I don't know. I feel like if you're getting Kai Havertz for a bargain cut price 45 million because they need to offload people, I'm taking it. For 70, I'm asking questions.
Yeah, and I agree with you in that sense, because for me as well, there was a ceiling at which I'd be comfortable for Arsenal making this deal. So when we did the podcast on it, we said anything up to around about £50 million, it makes sense. And he falls into a bracket that a lot of players fall into for me this summer, whereby if the price is right, you do it and you go for it. And it's almost an opportunistic signing. The problem is, yes, that Chelsea are saying they want 70, 75 million pounds. I've got to be honest, I don't think they're going to get that. I think this deal will go through at less than that. I'm looking at around 55 to 60 million pounds. I think that's probably where you're going to see a deal be struck. And for Arsenal, I think that's probably just above probably what they wanted to pay. But I think it's enough of a sort of come down from Chelsea's asking price for Arsenal to follow through and do this deal, if indeed Arteta thinks he's the right man. I mean, well, his talent identification, Mikel Arteta's, over the last couple of years has been excellent. I can think of 5-6 names that were linked with Arsenal, all the fans went, oh, I don't know about this. And then the prices came out and you thought, oh, God, this is crazy. You know, Ben White, 50 million, Aaron Ramsdale, 35. You know, the list goes on. And all of those transfers have worked out. So I think as Arsenal fans especially, we have to kind of just put our trust in his identification of talent and give him the benefit of the doubt here. If he thinks Kai Havertz is the answer, then I think we have to get behind that.
I think that's very kind of you. I think that's probably maybe overly fair of you. I think the difference for why Arsenal fans, I think, will feel strongly the other way on this is because everyone... The other players you've named there, and I think going right across the board, for every great signing you've had over the last few years, you know, through Odegaard, through Ben White, through... You know, everyone was taking a step up coming to Arsenal. Kai Havertz has played at this level, a level where he should be in the Champions League, a level where he's playing and competing in a team going for top 4. He's there already, and he's not performing at that level. So it's not we're getting someone who's performing really well who needs to step up. He's someone who's not performing at the level we're already at who needs to step up.
He'd be coming from an 11th place side to the 2nd place side. So I think that's a pretty big step
up. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.